Hello, everybody. Roxboro, Person County, surrounding area. We are delighted to have in our studio today a dear friend and one that's known to many Personians, and it is Dr. Claudia Berryhill. And we're here today to share some good information with you about a really neat project that's underway in Uptown Roxboro. I'm sure many of you have already heard about Hall's Way in Uptown Roxboro. Actual street address is 44 Gordon Street. We'll get into that in a moment. Dr. Berryhill, welcome. We're so glad that you're with us on radio and TV, and just tickled to have an opportunity to sit down with you and maybe give you a few minutes, a little break for a few minutes, because you've been working hard along with your two brothers on a wonderful project in our community, and I'm just really excited about Hall's Way. And first of all, we'll talk about the history, a little bit of history, but what it's going to mean for the future in our uptown area of Roxboro and Person County. Just tickled to have you with us, and welcome.
Well, thank you so much, David. It's a pleasure to be able to talk about it, and we're really excited. It's coming together now, and Donna Kay and I were just talking about what's been going on in Uptown Roxboro over the last couple of years with the businesses on North Main, down Depot Street, Hayden Newell, all of that. There's been some other businesses around that have modernized and opened up, and our little end of the world is up on South Main Street in that area, so we're excited to be able to be part of everything that's going on. The Kirby, what a great addition and upfit that was for our community too. So Roxboro's alive, so we're happy to be part of it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And having grown up in this area just like you, we just take a lot of pride in our community and its health and its growth and its future. And let me ask you this. Let's talk about the name for just a minute, Hall's Way. That has major significance in your life, doesn't it? That just the very name, Hall's Way.
It does, David. And this property has been in our family. It was actually our great-grandfather. Now, his name was Moses Street Jones. And he was a farmer in the northern end of Person County. And back in the late 1890s, and the railroad had come to town, and economic development was spurring at that point. The railroad brought more manufacturing, and then we had banks and cotton mills and tobacco gins and everything. And whatever possessed him, but he ended up buying property where it's now Main Street and Abbott Avenue. There was a hotel there already. It was called the Dowdy Hotel. So he purchased that property, and down what is now Abbott Street, he got some of that at foreclosure a couple years after that. And he died in 1920. He had one daughter, which was our grandmother, and she married Claude Hall.
Okay.
So my grandfather, Claude Hall, pretty much developed what we see now in the buildings and everything of what we see now.
Right.
And it was managed, the property was managed by my granddaddy until he died in 72. And then my uncle, C.T. Hall, y'all knew him as C.T. Claude Jr., until his retirement in 2012. So the management of all that property is now down to this generation with my brothers, Cal, Joe, and I. So this kind of started in about 2012 when the management came down to us, and we looked around and saw we had empty buildings. We had buildings that needed modernizing to keep up with the times, to be attractive. And if you remember the alleyway between the tax office and then Mr. Ramsey,
I do.
That was all blocked up, and we had never explored it because it was all locked up, and we got keys, and Cal and Joe particularly started opening doors and going around corners, and bless Pat, we saw that there was already somewhat of a connection between Abbott Avenue and the parking lot. You just had to rumble around to get there. So we had hired an architect to see what his plans may have been, and they came over and measured and looked and poked and prodded, and he came back with the thought that yes, this could be easily opened up as a passageway between Merritt Commons and Abbott Street. And then he gave us some preliminary plans as to how some of this could be developed. And maybe it's the sun and the moon and the stars lining up, but Mr. Ramsey died, I think, in 2013, May of that year. And then later that year, the tenant, Advance Health Care, which was in the back half of what used to be, you and I remember as Lewis Furniture Company.
And before that, Tar Heel Chevrolet.
Tar Heel. He vacated. So we had two big major places that were empty. So we were just, okay, we've got a plan, we're primed, let's move forward.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what we've done.
And I think it's so neat. The name, I like the name, and it's very cool. That's what it should be called, don't you think?
And that was actually the architect's vision. You know how architects do? They'll do all this stuff to get your buy-in. So he designed an arch that will go up over the alley, just going to say Halls Way.
Okay.
So that name kind of stuck, and we're proud of the heritage with our granddaddy doing what he did to develop what is there now. So we're proud
roughly
of that.
How much square footage all total is there going to be in the whole Quite a lot, I'm sure.
We're actually going to touch close to 16,000 square feet, and that includes the alley.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably about almost 14,000 square feet of actual building that we'll do, but we're redoing the alley. We're redoing on the Lamar Street side. There's going to be a sidewalk, handicapped sidewalk access over there.
Okay.
So we're moving a lot of square feet.
Nice. Well, the idea that we were privileged to be there at your ribbon cutting and got a little taste of what's coming, but looking forward, the idea is there going to be little shops, little individual businesses, and you've been busy. You and your brothers have been busy at work on getting some of those lined up.
And we feel like we're really fortunate that the community has seemed to accept our plan.
Yeah.
And being able to walk down that uncharted path with us to invest in Uptown Roxboro and invest with us. And I would say one of our very, very first contacts was a startup business too. So this, it's a double whammy, starting up and then being in a new place is an artisan's emporium. And that will be, there's three wonderful ladies, Carol White, Kathleen Radicon, and Sandra Shue. They are artisans in all of themselves, and their business will be a space that they will showcase their crafts, but then they'll have other vendors.
Nice.
So they're pretty much a continual opportunity for different homemade Person County regional crafts right there. So they were one of our very, very first ones, and very close behind them was Mary Lawson with L&S Beauty Salon. So
Okay.
She's
I know her.
She's coming uptown. And then two more businesses that are new to the area. One is Rising Sun Bakery, and that is Darla Schneider, and she has had presence in the Madison Boulevard Farmers Market for the last several years. So
I had one of her cinnamon buns this past Saturday.
there you go. But she's bringing a lot of her baked goods from Martinsville, but she's going to have an area where you can sit down and eat the breakfast pastries type things.
Yes.
She'll have salads for lunch, some soups, a yogurt bar is coming. So just some real neat things like that. As kind of two separate businesses, but working together, another space. Her name is Debbie Salisbury,
Okay.
and she has ties with family here in Person County, Granville area there, with farmers market presence as well.
Okay.
So she is developing a farmers market type space market, and her theme is local, regional, and got to be NC. So we'll have
Some products.
local produce,
Yeah.
local flowers, honey, handmade items, and again trying to stay. She's gotten her certification with North Carolina Department of Agriculture for got to be NC products. So we're trying to promote. She's trying to promote the North Carolina industry in the agriculture and products, artisans of North Carolina. So we're real happy with those. And the most recent person that's joining us is Cheryl Lockwood with Say It with Sass.
Okay.
So she's bringing a smaller version of her store uptown now with
And
us
she's
as
down
well.
on
She's on the
Boulevard.
Boulevard.
Uh-huh.
So
Next to the Chinese restaurant.
So
Yeah,
she's
okay.
just a little bit smaller version
Mhm.
of what she's doing down there, and lots of different. She was telling me the different things that she was going to have up there as well. So we're just really happy with all of this. And
I know.
the other piece of this investment, Dave, as you know, there are no uptown restroom facilities uptown.
Mhm.
So we are providing uptown restroom facilities,
Public restroom.
public
Yeah.
restrooms for the events that go on uptown. You know, the cruise ins are wildly successful.
Mhm.
Personalities right around the corner, and RDG and all of their events uptown too. So that's a sorely needed problem that we can help solve, and we just felt that was the right thing to do too. It would be so accessible because of the parking lot. So
I know.
we just felt like that was a good thing for us to be able to do.
It's a wonderful corner with as Merritt Commons in itself, and then a big parking lot that can accommodate a bunch of cars. And we were hoping today maybe you would share a few little things, and I'm sure there'll be some other things that'll be coming along later, which will be revealed at a later time when it's appropriate. But I know that you and I were talking about. I said you must be really weary in some days, but then you said, but it's fun, and you know that is what it's all about. You have a chance to create. And that's what you're doing, building and creating, and that's special.
And one of the things that we really wanted to do, back to the heritage of those buildings.
Right.
You know, we had a choice. It could have been an ultra-modern stainless steel contemporary design. We could have done that. But our choice was to take those, in our eyes, what is a beautiful old building, and take it back to the way it was in its day. So in the Gordon, we call it the 44 Gordon, which is the back half of the old Tar Heel, like right there on the parking lot. So we took out all of the drop ceiling. So what you'll see is you'll look up and you'll see the rafters, you'll see the roof, you'll see the sprinkler pipes, you'll see a lot of that, but you'll see that beautiful old wood. We took all the stuff up off the floors, and it's the natural concrete that was there that's been cleaned and sealed. You know, the tenants that we have now have chosen to keep that look, but of course, if somebody wants to drop a ceiling or put down carpet or laminate or something, we're happy to accommodate that. We're not that set in our ways. It's got to look like this. They're on the same with Mr. Ramsey's space, and then Chris Perkins was next door. We did the same thing. There you'll see the beadboard ceilings. Some of it we had to patch, of course. There's a beautiful skylight in Chris Perkins' place that we left open, concrete floors.
Good.
The space behind that, as you walk up the alley, is meant to be a restaurant. We've had some inquiries and doing some talking. But again, we'll do what we need to do to get it to a place that we can satisfy a code and get a CO. But the design, the rest of it will be up to the next tenant that would want to do that. But it has the beadboard ceiling now, and right now there's a beautiful area we call it sunken, and this has been part of the fun part, Dave, is to next time you look at that alley, you'll notice it's sloped. So your street level at Abbott Street, but by the time you get to the back there, you've got about 5 steps. So we ended up building up the floor in the body of the restaurant.
Okay.
But what was the original floor is now looks like it's a sunken space. So again, there's still the concrete there. So those have been the fun things to try to work out. We found some neat stuff. I never realized Mr. Ramsey ran for Congress, but we found about a 16-foot board that said Jim Ramsey for Congress.
I did not know that either. I knew he was Speaker of the House, and how about that?
There's some other things that I'm trying to collect, and we'll try to have some memorabilia in the commons area of the space too. So folks like me and you, and maybe a little bit older, and maybe a little bit younger, you'll remember some of the things. I found some stuff. This was at my mother's house, 8 Airs Drugstore, a little bottle like that in Hambrick and Austin. We found some memorabilia, so I plan on showcasing a lot of that. A lot of stuff with the hotel that I've come across and collected that we'll put back out to where you and I can reminisce about the hotel and the good times.
You know, we've used the word fun a lot of times, and what is so neat, the people who have an interest in coming in, you're not having to deal with somebody from Charlotte or Atlanta. You're dealing with someone who loves the community and loves our prosperity and our growth, and somebody that's fun to work with. And I can see you and your 2 brothers are just having a magnificent time creating this beautiful place for Uptown Roxboro, and it is going to be a show place. I know.
Well,
I like your colors that you've already selected, and those beautiful windows, bringing it back to. Well, I remember Tar Heel had those type windows that would raise out. We didn't have a lot of air conditioning back then, and but you have restored that beauty to that building.
Well, part of what we did too was the use of the historical tax credits on the federal and the state level. So some of that we had to, which is what we wanted to do anyway. And you were right. What I found out was that Tar Heel had the windows open, and then when Lewis Furniture Company came in, I think that was when Papa or my grandfather
boarded them over,
bricked them back
bricked
up.
them
So
over,
we've taken them back. And another neat thing that we found, Mr. Ramsey had a facade on the front of his building, so we took it down, and then we were cleaning the brick there. And if you look real carefully, and if you stand better at Main Street and Lamar Street, you can see Roxboro.
I know what you're going to say.
And I've
Roxboro Laundry.
Roxboro Steam Laundry.
Steam Laundry.
And I've got a picture that was donated to the museum, and it was a mule-drawn tobacco wagon full of tobacco. In the background, you can see Roxboro Steam Laundry, and back behind it, you see part of the hotel. And that picture was dated 1928.
Wow.
So we'll have those letters put back, but very faint, to reflect the fact that it was so long ago. So just stuff that we hope people, those who appreciate the past and the history and the heritage of our town,
absolutely
can enjoy that. And then it's a teaching lesson for our children as to, like you say, we didn't have air conditioning back there, and I remember Joe Burke in his reminiscing book was talking about he never realized how much heat the laundry gave until they left, and then that winter he was cold.
Okay,
So,
in Farmer Supply.
Farmer Supply, yes.
Let's talk about if someone is interested in pursuing an opportunity, you have space available, right?
We do. The Abbott Street spaces, what we call Mr. Ramsey's space, is a little over 1,000 square feet.
Okay.
There's we put a bathroom in there, their own bathroom. And the space next door is about 1,300 square feet, again with a bathroom. Now back in the other part, just coincidentally, there are three defined spaces right now. They're all side by side.
All right.
They're about 700 square feet each.
Pretty good size.
They're
Yeah.
they're pretty good size. They could be enlarged by either taking down a wall, or what the market and the bakery did was make an arch, so there's free flowing in there, or they could easily be downsized. Just naturally, there would be a way to subdivide that single space to two 350 square feet spaces. So that's all available. That, and just coincidentally, those spaces are on the parking lot side, so you've got those beautiful windows that you
Yes.
talked about.
Oh, yeah.
And then the end space, you've got it's the corner, so then you're looking at Lamar Street, and also back up the other way.
And of course, it's going to be climate controlled and cool
Absolutely.
in the summer and
Absolutely.
warm in the winter, and just ideal for shopping. How should somebody get in touch with you,
Well,
or your brothers, or
Right.
if they have some interest? Is there a phone number you would like to give, or?
sure. Either the three of us, there is still the construction sign up there that has all
Right.
phone numbers and emails.
Okay.
In lieu of that, the chamber can absolutely contact us,
Mm-hmm.
or Lauren Wren with RDG.
RDG.
So she's been fielding some comments and inquiries as well. So we live here, we're around. Keep asking.
Yes.
Call you. You can get up with
Well,
us.
I know exactly how to get up with you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited. And I know you. I know sometimes you must lie down at night and you think, "Oh, what if we did this, or what if we did that?" You
Yeah,
probably have
yeah.
twisted different ideas around, and it's fun creating, isn't it?
It is. Mark Duncan and Suzanne have been so great to work with. Suzanne, with her design, creativeness in her design, talent, I guess that was my word. She's been invaluable. I mean, some of us don't, we've relied on her a lot you talked about the colors, to bring to us a palette rather than us trying to go out and search everything out on our own. So they have been really great. And David, just like you and I during our lives, to walk out on a limb to start your own business and to have that dream. And those spaces, I mean, in my personal opinion, I would love to see a frame shop come. We've lost Creative Crafts uptown, and then there are some others out in the community that I know that were used for somebody to have a smaller space. And originally, in fact, we did change architects from the very beginning. The original design was big spaces. Big spaces cost more money. In a little small town like this, we ended up, let's have smaller, more affordable
Create
spaces.
opportunity. Yeah.
So more boutique type
Right.
space. So smaller businesses like that need public presence. That was kind of what we were thinking about too, to give the little entrepreneurs an opportunity to have affordable presence. So we were going after that too. Well,
We'll close out on Hall's Way in a moment and give the address again and everything, but I want to break away for just a moment and talk about the gathering place. The community has fallen in love with the gathering place. Civic clubs meet there, political meetings, school functions, the college functions. What you and your team have done to the old Massey's department store in Uptown Roxboro should win many awards. I'm sure you have won awards for that. But as a young boy, I can remember going with parents and grandparents through Massey's department store, through the stacks and stacks of clothing and shoes, and you've taken that empty building that was the shell left from Massey's, and created a spectacular place to have luncheons, meetings, dinners, wedding receptions. Congratulations. I've never had the chance to just sit down and tell you that,
Well,
but
thank you. Thank you.
I'm in a civic club and we meet there, and what an enjoyable thing we have in gathering place.
Well, thank you. That was a building that we preserved the bones of that building. It was, you talk about us ladies, wash light, powder heavy, and do a lot of powdering. Well, it's the original ceiling, the original floor,
Right.
new coats of paint, and of course the modern HVACs and everything like that. But it takes, not everybody likes the vintage look. You know, that's personal taste, but I do think the building turned out beautiful. It preserved that history of that building, and you know, the wall, the lime color designation on that wall, that was history that I didn't know about at the time too. So upstairs it says Long's, Aubrey C. Long, heavy and fancy vegetables. So those, it's our, we're back in our past, and those were the good times.
Yeah. And as you
But thank
mentioned
you.
earlier, it's a good, you are certainly more than welcome. As you mentioned, it's a good educational opportunities for young people who want to touch and feel and have an interest in some of our Roxboro and Person County history. Hallsway 44 Gordon Street, and it's kind of partially on Abbott Street, Main Street, and Gordon Street, actually.
And Lamar.
And Lamar,
There'll
exactly.
be an entrance there too. Entrance from there.
Any idea what opening official? I guess another ribbon cutting. Is it in this year, in 2016?
Absolutely. We're aiming, as Mark has said, is that August the 15th we could get a stocking permit,
Okay.
which means it's close enough that tenants could be moving in. You know, personality is right around the corner, so
Yeah.
I'm really hoping that depending on what the tenants want to do, that could be a great audience to start with. But absolutely, we're planning on finishing what we have to finish here pretty soon. And then as others come online, we'll go ahead and finish out for them.
Thank you.
But this project pretty soon now.
Thank you for what is happening, and it is a busy place as you ride by there. But every week you see a little bit more, you know, a little bit more being done, and I love the paint and the beautiful roof line. It's what we need. It's what we need here in Person County. We need growth, but we need the right kind of growth, and this is the right kind of growth.
Well, I agree with you, and maybe back to our great-grandfather, the vision was that Person County and Roxboro, you know, we're on the cusp of a lot of nice, great things happening, small business, large business, and preserving our beautiful countryside, but doing things the right way. We knew we couldn't keep doing what we were doing. That was not sustainable. It wasn't sustainable for us, nor was it sustainable for Uptown and Person County. So we walked out on that limb. But
Good.
We're excited.
Much success.
Thank you.
Keep up the good work, and I'm just proud of you and your family and everybody pulling together.
Well, I'm gonna be looking for you and Margaret to be shopping. I'm gonna be looking for you to walk down the aisle with that cinnamon bun and that yogurt cone here pretty soon.
I like both.
There you go.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We appreciate it, everybody. And I know you're like me, folks. You're anticipating the ribbon cutting and going in and making your first shopping trip and making it a fun time. And again, we have with us today, if you're viewing on my right, on your left as you're watching television, Dr. Claudia Berryhill. And if you're listening on radio, we hope you will keep all of this in mind and contact them if you have an interest, and we'll all look forward to a big day together. Thank you for being with us today, and thank you again.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you for having us.